joint webinar on involved decision-based automation. Ayehu and GAVS are technology partners, and the purpose of today's webinar is to demonstrate the value proposition of automation to GAVS customers. Now, some of you might already be using an automation tool or perhaps even multiple tools. Some of you might be thinking about starting down the path towards automation. But wherever you are in your automation journey, I think you're going to be surprised to learn just how much automation can do for your organization, especially to improve resiliency and competitive advantage. My name is Guy Nadidi. I'm the Senior Director of Marketing for Ayehu, and I'm joined today by Alwyn Rajamani, Vice President of Customer Success for GAVS, as well as Dan Holland, Senior Director of IT for Alvarez and Marcel, a global organization that's deployed automation. And Dan is here to provide a first-hand accounting about A&M's experiences and discuss the insights they've gained from their initiative, as well as the benefits they've accrued. And in addition to Dan's insights, we'll be providing you a brief PowerPoint presentation, as well as a live demonstration of an automation use case we think you'll find universally relevant and pretty cool. If you have any questions during the webinar, please submit them through your chat client on the GoToWebinar panel, and we'll try answering all of them during the Q&A portion of today's webinar right after the demo. All right, before we dive into today's webinar presentation, let's take a quick poll about automation at your organization. What percentage of processes at your organization would you estimate are automated? 0 to 10%, 11 to 25%, 26 to 50%, over 50%, or I don't know, not sure. Please take a moment to submit your response. We will then tabulate it live and show you the results. What percentage of processes at your organization would you estimate are automated? Go ahead and submit your response, and we will show the results momentarily. Okay, are we ready to go ahead and display the results on the screen? Here they come. Okay, so quite a few of you have processes that are automated. That's very interesting. 11%, 1/10 of you have over 50%. Very impressive. Okay, excellent. Thank you for sharing those thoughts with us. And let's go ahead and move on. I'll bring back the screen. Okay. So many of you already know quite a bit about GAVS. So here's a little background about Ayehu. We have over 220 production deployments out there with some of the biggest and best known enterprises in the world. Their logos, at least some of them, can be seen at the bottom of the slide. These organizations typically have very large and or very complex environments, and they're using the Ayehu automation platform to automate many aspects of their operations. We've also been recognized by McKinsey as having a best-in-class approach to automation, and a few years ago, Gartner named us a cool vendor in IT process automation. One of the core strengths of the Ayehu NG platform is easy interoperability with many categories of enterprise infrastructure systems, platforms, and tools. Our goal from day one has been to enable organizations to seamlessly integrate Ayehu with just about anything in their data center, and to do so without the need to write even one line of code. We want to be your single pane of glass for orchestrating automation across any platform in your environment. And we do that by making it as simple as possible to connect as many things as possible in your enterprise solution stack. Ayehu keeps track of the highest value automation use cases with the broadest applicability to our customers. We display those on our website where you can drill down and get more information on each one. And that list is updated from time to time when we come across great new use cases of Ayehu that automate toil out of a process. Right now, these are the top 10 use cases that our customers use the Ayehu platform to automate. However, there are many, many more use cases we automate, including very unique ones that are one-of-a-kind processes at given organizations. But this list should give you an idea of the diversity of tasks that can be automated with Ayehu NG. Now, I want to walk you through a very general simulation of what automated workflows in Ayehu NG are typically like, and this should help make very clear what you'll be seeing in a little bit during the demo portion of our webinar. So step one involves using the Ayehu platform as an integration hub in your environment. Ayehu will then connect to every platform that needs to be interacted with when remediating an incident. Obviously, one or more of these platforms would be monitoring systems and AI-ops platforms like SolarWinds or Logic Monitor. These are usually already configured in enterprise environments to generate alerts based on certain events or thresholds being crossed. When that alert gets generated, instead of it going straight to your service desk, Ayehu intercepts it and begins the automated remediation process by parsing the alert notification to determine what the underlying incident is. And then it initiates a conversation with an admin via Microsoft Teams or Slack or any chatbot of your choosing, whether on a desktop or mobile device. Now, for the purpose of our discussion, let's say that the alert is about a server running low on disk space, and the automated remediation is going to identify which log files are candidates for deletion to free up space on that server. The Ayehu workflow would then go through log files on that server one by one and request the admin's approval to delete each one individually. The admin can, of course, not only approve, but also deny. Please note that the word optional appears in parentheses under each of those actions. That's because if you wanted to, you could also make this entire automated remediation unattended, basically putting it on autopilot and relieve the burden off the admin to do this manually. Again, that's an option. If you prefer to keep a human in the loop, that's fine too. Ayehu can accommodate either preference, attended or unattended. The final concurrent step in our workflow involves automatically creating a ticket in your ITSM platform to document everything we've done. That platform could be ServiceNow, BMC Remedy, Sharewell, Jira Heat, or anyone you prefer. And as the workflow progresses with files being identified for deletion and the admin's decision on each one, we're recording all of that automatically in our ITSM ticket, completely eliminating one of the biggest service desk headaches of all, documentation. Too many alert notifications can lead to something called alert fatigue. And when that sets in, help desk personnel start really resenting doing things like documentation, especially when they're overwhelmed by incidents needing remediation. So Ayehu is pretty popular with our customers for that reason alone. Once the incident remediation is completed, Ayehu automatically closes the ticket. So this process also illustrates how Ayehu plugs into what GAVS calls its zero incident framework. And a lot of incidents can be resolved automatically by Ayehu without any human intervention, and thus without the need for attention from a level 1 technician. So this is what you'll be seeing demonstrated live shortly. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Alvarez and Marcel. A&M is a global professional services firm that's notable for its work in turnaround management and performance improvement of a number of large, high-profile businesses, both in the US and abroad. Perhaps their best-known projects were with Lehman Brothers and Arthur Andersen, two of the biggest corporate restructurings ever undertaken. As you can see, they've got over 5,000 employees spread out over 4 continents, over 25 countries, over 65 offices, and they've grown all that in the span of a bit over 35 years. Very impressive. A&M serves a number of markets, notably corporations, private equity, and government agencies. And as you can see at the bottom, a significant number of the world's largest and most prestigious firms are A&M customers. So with that as background, I'd like to reintroduce Dan Holland, Alvarez and Marcel's Senior Director of IT, and the man responsible for their automation initiative. Dan is an IT professional with nearly 30 years experience, having worked in different sectors from electronics, freight, banking, and aviation, just to name a few. And he's now been with Alvarez and Marcel just over 7 years. His knowledge ranges from IT security, networking, server infrastructure, cloud, and data center. He's led NOC, SOC, service desk, and IT engineering teams. And he's a real specialist in leading global technology transformation and IT organizational change, creating roadmaps and introducing leading edge technology to solve business challenges. Dan, hello.
Hi, Guy. Thank you for having me on the webinar.
So, Dan, I think the audience would love to know first off, what prompted Alvarez and Marcel to begin exploring automation for its operations?
Well, Guy, over the years, having seen a few changes on the way, I have witnessed the promise of automation, but rarely have seen anyone grasp the opportunities it brings with both hands. Nowadays, we have access to some fantastic platforms that can glue these technologies together, but it still needs a vision and broad knowledge of technologies from professionals like you and I and the folks on the webinar to bring this possibility from something that's just an idea to a tangible outcome. That will really eventually showcase your technology investments. A few years back, during an IT town hall meeting, I recalled to the attendees of that meeting a memory of being a young IT engineer, looking on at the technology that I believe will one day take me from being a reactive person and in a position, running around spinning technology plates, which I'm sure a lot of you can connect with, to someone that had time to plan and look forward. And that reality never really seemed to occur. And with this audience, I created an image and the way I felt things had progressed. And that basically is something like a Tesla. We bought a Tesla. We're looking forward to giving the car direction and allowing it to take us there. But instead of the motor and the technology driving us there, we were actually in the front, being the motor, with the car sitting on the cockpit and enjoying the ride. And I felt that was really back to front. And unfortunately, over the years, we'd never quite managed to get to the point of realizing automation as it should be. So with the rapid growth of A&M, I wanted us to work smart and not hard, not simply add more people to the roster, but to make technology work for us.
Okay, now speaking of technology, I think everybody would also be interested to hear, what does your technical environment look like as far as monitoring systems, ITSM platforms, tools, etc.?
Yes, certainly. You alluded to some of the great platforms earlier that the systems connect to. The bedrock of our environment is ServiceNow. We're a highly regulated environment, constantly being audited. Everything needs to be ticketed, of course. So ServiceNow is the bedrock. It's that junction point in which all our systems connect to. So on the NOC side, particularly, we have SolarWinds, and we also use NetBrain. SolarWinds, as most of you know, will pick up alerts and issues. In our case, it places the ticket into ServiceNow. NetBrain's there looking for the ticket to be placed, takes the ticket out of the system, and starts to run workflow against that ticket. Then I guess moving on to Z-Man, you're going to see a great demonstration a little bit later of how the GAVS team connected Z-Man into our ServiceNow environment, again, to create, update, close tickets from incidents that had been created. And kind of finally, I guess, on the security side, we have an extensive tool set, as you can imagine, constantly being updated, revised, improved. But we have product like Darktrace, which is an AI system. It looks for patterns of life across the network. And if it finds something suspicious, it can raise a ticket into ServiceNow as well. We have QRadar, Microsoft ATP, Cisco AMP, Cisco Umbrella, and we use a product called SpyCloud. And that's just to name but a few. But all this technology connects into ServiceNow and Z-Man for automation and remediation. All the systems we use or we procure must have secure, extensive API capabilities. That's one of the things that we look for.
You mentioned extensive capabilities, and you certainly have an extensive environment from the sounds of it. But I'm curious, in that environment, Dan, what have been some of the more successful processes you've automated?
So hopefully, shortly you'll see one of those processes. Email phishing. That is something that most companies are obviously aware of. The investigation work that the teams need to do to authenticate whether it indeed is a phish or where along the line that compromise potentially has taken place. So that was one of the big programs that we had to run, and the GAVS team worked with us with Z-Man on that. Employee onboarding and separation. Now, that's quite standard. Lots of people do that. But in A&M, we are constantly available 24/7 for firefighting, sending teams into corporations that are having problems. And we bring specialists in specifically for those projects. So our onboarding team has to be active almost on a 24/7, 365 basis. So having taken a detailed look into that, we simplified the process and we automated it, again using Z-Man at the heart of that, connecting into AD product we have, Aggresso, and ServiceNow. Couple more items we have, more on the security side. MFA, which is multi-factor authentication. As again, some of you might connect with, Microsoft changed the way that they do things quite often, and sometimes you need to have an automated process that is steady for the support staff to access without creating any more issues. So we asked the guys to create us a web portal that basically connected into the MFA platform and allowed many more of our security folk and level 1, level 2 people to change and add these settings in a safe manner. And probably finally, for now anyway, is BitLocker key retrieval. So we're in a hybrid environment. BitLocker keys, which you know are the keys to encrypt your hard drive, and that's a mandatory requirement for us as most companies. Being in that hybrid situation, we have the keys stored on-prem in AD and also stored in Azure AD, depending on how that connectivity is created. So creating a portal that enabled the support personnel to assist with that in one place was really invaluable.
Okay, so clearly you're automating a lot of processes, and that leads one to wonder if when you're evaluating a process to be considered for automation, is there a minimum ROI you need to see from automating it in order to consider it successful?
Well, we've certainly worked out what potential ROI there is once a project is realized and finished. But this is more about an ethos and a way of working that represents the company's dynamic behavior. And we wanted all processes to be automated and for all the teams to understand that from now on in, this is the way that we worked, looking at standard processes and bringing them into an automation platform. So everybody's on board and they fully understand that.
So speaking of success, executive support is typically cited as a key factor in the success of automation initiatives. I'm curious, Dan, at A&M, has executive management been supportive of your efforts? And if so, what do they think about the results?
Yeah, absolutely. I have fantastic support from the CIO and the C-suite. They back the vision. They fully understand the reasons. It's in line with the company behavior, the way we operate. Sometimes the real benefits do not become evident until there's a global issue. And what I mean is by that is COVID. This unfortunate event prevented access to the offices, meaning that without the automated processes, we could have potentially put people at risk. And instead of the business slowing down, it's grown by 20%, and the IT functions completely as before. So again, sometimes the value add of automation, unfortunately, only becomes realized in sort of the face of adversity, and then everybody will certainly understand the vision even more so going forward, and they fully back that. So yeah.
Yeah, COVID has definitely put a monkey wrench into a lot of corporate plans. So I'm curious, going forward, what kinds of processes do you envision automating at A&M?
Well, we continually work through our bespoke knowledge base articles to bring them in. We have over 1,000 of them. Who knows how many really? I mean, it could be 1,500, but it's a significant number. And although we've only hit the top 10 or 20, 30, there's clearly a long way to go, a lot of automation to be had. We're in the process of connecting teams into an AI-based system that will in turn connect to Z-Man and ServiceNow and the other aforementioned applications. So even though we've gone a long way down the path, there's a long way to go. But we intend to connect the AI platforms via Teams. And in the future, we'll connect Workday and Salesforce into those processes as well to bring greater value to the wider business.
Very interesting. Dan, thank you very much for joining us on today's webinar.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so continuing on, before we dive into the live demo, let's take one more quick poll about automating use cases at your organization. What use case or process will you be looking to automate immediately? And the choices are Active Directory password reset / unlock, shared file / folder monitoring and automation, automated performance optimization of servers, service restarts, or something else. Please take a moment to submit your response. It'll be very interesting to see what use case or process our audience is looking to automate immediately. Go ahead and take a moment to choose one of those, and we'll show you the results in just a little bit. Okay, I think we're maybe ready to start tabulating, and here come the results. And let's see. Okay, Active Directory password reset, always popular. Automated performance optimization of servers and others were the top 2 choices. Okay, very interesting. All right, thank you all very much for submitting your responses. That was an interesting peek at what you guys have planned. Okay, and let's bring back my screen. Okay, I think that now Alwin Rajamani from GAVS is going to say a few words about GAVS and their very successful zero incident framework before he starts the live demo. Alwin?
Yeah, thank you, Guy. Okay, good morning, everyone. So good evening, whichever part you are. And okay, so as GAVS, basically we are headquartered in Princeton, New Jersey. And as Guy was explained, so we have geographically located in various locations across the globe. Of course, we have offices in US, and then we also have our India operations, Chennai, and then we also do have Middle East operations as well. So we cover and then support all the customers across the globe. And then we focus more on digital transformation using cloud and then automation, particularly the AIOps driven automation is our major focus. And then we are also, we have our homegrown zero incident enterprise, zero incident framework that's been quite been successful with wherever we are implemented across the globe. And then we also have our, basically in terms of industry recognition. So as you see that we have been recognized by Gartner and Everest, particularly from Gartner, we have, specialized software on intelligent automation space, particularly for the AIOps platform. And then we are also been a key innovator in the AIOps platform, being recognized by various applauds we received on that front. And okay, next slide.
All right, I don't know why it's not advancing. 1 second. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, so just to give a quick overview about what Zero Incident Framework is all about. So we call it a ZIF. So it's a complete, AIOps platform. And then, most of our IT enterprise systems, basically, where all the logs and the alerts which is getting generated from various systems, that includes maybe a monitoring system, or it may be a database or a servers or anything. So all that logs and events are very, very important to be analyzed and then observed. So all that being is what you see on that entire, the funnel where you see the different kinds and types of structured data, unstructured data, and logs and events and so on. All of them are, being analyzed and then routed into our AIOps platform. And basically that's where the analytics and engine, which does those basically our NLPs and then machine learning algorithms, that particularly again talks about all that basically the analytical engine which does those analysis and then does the correlation of alerts. And then basically when the alerts are getting correlated, obviously the noise reduction and everything takes place at that point in time. And then based on the alerts, it also does the prediction whether that kind of an incident will happen in the future. So the prediction based alerts is what been also used by the automation engine within the part of the zero incident framework. So we take those alerts as an input to do those automations. So apart from even taking alerts from various other monitoring system or any other system within part of the enterprise, even we can do automation using those the various things which has been triggered from our analytical engine. So those are all the capability as part of this. And this entire platform is low code and no code based components and very dynamic in terms of event processing and so on. And then also it has those unified data store for this entire accomplishment. Yeah, next slide. Okay, so and there are 5 key components in this. Basically, one is the agentless auto discovery. This is basically so to discover all the IT assets in an enterprise. It might be a physical topology or a logical topology of an enterprise that all will be detected by this discovery platform. And then once the IT infrastructure elements are discovered, that includes servers, databases, and everything. So all that being comes under the agentless monitoring. That's again powerful capability of our platform. So agentless monitoring, which monitors including hypervisors and then hardware, servers, microservices, databases, and infrastructure components, and including various applications and then various ports and printers and all of that. So whatever has been discovered has been monitored through the platform. So then once it has been monitored, all that alerts and then events which get generated have been pushed into the correlation and noise reduction thing, which is where our IAOps platform come into the picture. So that basically does the unified dashboard. That's a single pane of window where we can see all the enterprise related alerts in one single screen. And then we even keep moving on to, in terms of false elimination, root cause analysis of that, and all that being done as part of this engine. And then once the correlated things, only the actionable alerts or the events gets forwarded to the automation engine. I think that's where the automation comes to the picture of picking up those alerts, actionable alert. That's where we have this 250 plus pre-built ITPA, IT process automation related bots as part of the platform, and including it has self-service portal, chatbot integration, and various other things. So all these automation is what we are using and leveraging, the Ayehu, as well as we have our home built automation capabilities. So we use all of that to accomplish that. Yeah, next slide. Okay, so when it comes to the automation, as I mentioned, that all that interactive and non-interactive and then inclusive decision enable automation, these are all the three kinds and types of automation we classify. So interactive and self-service is where we use our self-service portal capability, which has been integrated part of our AIOps platform. And then also it can integrate with chatbots. When I say chatbot, it might be integrated to MS Teams, Slack, and Facebook at Work, and all of that. And then more than that, again, the portal-based self-services helps to make involved decision. Whenever there is an insight brought in by the platform, that can be decided by an SOC analyst or a NOC engineer, whoever actually looks at that, the alerts or the insights, whatever has been brought in by the automation platform, they can look at that insights and then decide to automate them. So non-interactive is basically self-healing. Whenever it sees some services goes down or some process is not performing correctly, process hung, and then various other scenarios, it can automate all of them. And then the inclusive decision enabling is what basically same example as what we talked about, the phishing analysis. Basically, when the phishing mail comes in, and that phish mail has to be analyzed by the SOC analyst team before they make a decision. In the case of automation, it does the complete analysis done by a SOC analyst by connecting to various tools, including Cisco and then Mimecast and various other tools, including IBM QRadar, and then makes those decisions and then bring that insights to the SOC analyst. So the SOC analyst, they look at the insights or observables and decide which one to be blocked or which one to be ignored, or which threat is malicious or some of them benign. All that based on that decision, they make those decide whether to block some of those observables. So we'll also see that in the demo. Next slide. I think we can move on to the next slide, please.
Yeah, okay, we could switch over to Alwyn's screen now, and he'll be walking us through a live demo of one of the automation use cases Alvarez and Marcel deployed in their environment.
Thank you. Okay, so as you see that this particular use case, automation use case, we are going to talk about the email phishing. So the email phishing, I'll just give a quick overview before getting to the demo. The email phish, when it been received by anybody who was part of an enterprise system, so they log that particular email phishing in the ITSM ticket or forward to a specific DL. So that DL, when they forward it, basically that will be picked up by ServiceNow as an instance gets created, or even we can directly connect to that from as an automation platform. We can directly connect to that and then fetch those details in terms of what observables were submitted by that end user, and then look at them and then do that analysis and then give it. So the three components here: ServiceNow, and then we also talk about our Ayehu platform as well as our zero instance framework platform. How does it really talk to that instance and then do those analysis and then what is the remediation steps is being done after that. When I say remediation, basically whether to block or ignore or whatever the actions which it has to do, and then after it does those actions, how does it really close that instance in ServiceNow or any other ITSM tool. Those are all the components we are going to have a look at it. So there are 3 different screens which I'll be sharing here. So as you can see that the instance, so this is one of the dev environment where we have the instance are getting created. So as you can see that there are one of the fish mail which is being submitted. You can see that there is an email submitted by that particular employee. So the email was forwarded. You can see that the email attachment is being attached into the ServiceNow instance. So with this, I'll go back to our Ayehu platform where this is a workflow generation window where you can see that this is basically where we develop that workflow using this platform. And here where you can see that all the connectors and the activities for different systems and then applications in the industry that include various ITSM tool and then various monitoring tool and various other tools as well here. So all that tools related activity we can drag and drop and construct this automation use case using this platform. So this the synopsis of this use case is basically it runs that automation and then fetches that ServiceNow instance, whether that has specific category. It may be security instance, and then the sub description would be the fish mail submission. So all those it fetches that. So I'll quickly run that. So as you see that this automation use case, when it runs, it basically talks to those respective ITSM tool, and it also gives immediately that successful results. Okay, so you can see that the instant ID is being collected by the tool. Okay, so once it is get that instant ID, then it go ahead and then look for the observables. When I call the observables, the YAML file, the YAML file contains might be an hyperlink, it might contain some zip file which has been attached to it. All that detail it extracts and passes those information, and then bring that information by sharing that information to various threat intelligence tools. It can be Mimecast, it may be another or Cisco umbrella related tools, or any other, even IBM QRadar and various other tools, and then basically it sends out a mail to the SOC distribution list. So the SOC distribution list, once you can see that the mail has already arrived. So this particular, so you can see that this is the instant number. So this mail goes to the SOC analyst team. So they will see that this particular mail submitted has been, this is the sender of that particular mail, and then this is the observable, as I mentioned, domain, and then the attachment which has a SHA file and the URL. So all that detail has been extracted from it. So then the SOC analyst sees this threat score provided by various tools here. So when they click on, you can see that it brings up our self-service portal, which is part of our zero incident framework, which brings that insight. And then basically it also gives, this is where I talked about the threat analysis tools score. This is where they can derive whether it has been benign or whether it is malicious. That's a decision they make it. And once they see those clean or suspicious, or some of them are vulnerable, based on that they'll go ahead and then look at blocking the threat. When they go and then block, say they can block at any of those respective tools integrated. So in this case, it can be Alien Vault or a Palo Alto, or depends on that tool set which is applicable. About what we are showing is a universal tool set here, which has been integrated with Zero Incident Framework. And then they can decide which one to be blocked. So let me select Cisco umbrella in this case. So I'm just blocking here only for the purpose of demo. So let me go and then say block this thread. In addition, they can also delete. You can see that there is an sender email address and domain and then IR process where they can even whoever is received. It might be many of their employees would have received the same mail. When they know that it has been malicious, they can delete the mails from their inboxes. All that they can decide. So I'm just only picking up one thread here. So you can see that, do you want to really submit? So this is where the involved decision comes into the picture, where that SOC analyst makes an involved decision of blocking the thread on the target system. So that will be seen as a result on this particular tool set. So you can see that Z-Man automation here. So it can integrate, as you see that it can integrate to any other tools as well, tool set. So this goes and makes a policy entry under this particular category. So that is where we are just looking at. Okay, you can see that the domains which gets blocked on some of the tools here. I'll quickly come back here again. So this again, the IR process, let me quickly touch base. See, for example, this particular compromised user email address. So these two are being identified as a compromised email account because they might have clicked that particular link or the URL which has come in the part of the email. So this is where they can make a decision of how many clicks they made and what all the clicks they made. So they can go ahead and then say whether this particular mail has to be blocked or not, or these mails has to be deleted from their mailboxes or not. All that decision can be done. So that's where there's intelligent updates come in here. And as you can see that once it has been picked up by the automation platform, it puts an in progress entry, and whatever the action performed by the SOC analyst team also is getting added into the ServiceNow instance for any future references. So it's completely integrated and involved decision making platform is what is the power of this. Yeah. So with that note, the demo is done. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Alwyn. Very interesting. Okay, so now we come to the Q&A portion of today's webinar. As mentioned earlier, if you have any questions, please submit them through your chat client on the GoToWebinar panel, and we'll try our best to answer all of them. And I see that they have started to come in, so let's go ahead and attack these questions. Number one, Alwyn, I think this one's for you. How quickly can you automate a new use case using the ZIF platform?
Okay, so basically the ZIF platform has connectors to all the tools, both in terms of universal, we have called as universal connector, and also we do have the Ayehu based connectors for various tools. So because of that, we can build automation use cases very quickly, and then we classify them three different kinds: simple, medium, and complex. Simple, if it is a new automation use cases, falls under simple. We can do it in 1 day, and the medium is about 3 days, and complex is 5 and above. So, but however, we also have 250 pre-built automation. So any of that falls under the category. It is readily available as part of the platform that can be immediately implementable.
All right. This next question, Alwyn, I think it's for you as well, but Dan, I think it might be interesting to get your perspective as well. And the question is, what are some of the typical automations done from a security standpoint? And Alwyn, why don't you start? Maybe Dan, you could share your perspective after.
Okay. So one of the use case, whatever we demonstrated, which is in phishing automation. So that's one. And then in addition, we also have something where there are any vulnerable threats coming in from an IP to the firewall. It can be a Palo Alto or any other device. So that can be monitored, and then there can be policy entries can be put in place to block them. So that's another use case. So similarly, there can be a number of security related automation cases is being done by our platform. Maybe I'll ask Dan to add up any other points. Yes.
I think, Alwyn, you picked the main two. Those are the biggest areas of attack that businesses see. So being able to remediate and in that process hit all your security appliances, all your security firewalls, as you mentioned earlier, internal protection, external protection out on the laptop, and being able to take that SHA file and the observables, as you rightfully mentioned, and putting that into the various systems in a very fast, efficient manner. So I would echo exactly what you've just said, Alan.
Excellent. Okay, the next question, Alwyn, I think this one's for you. What are the underlying tools used to build the ZIF framework?
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, the ZIF, entire ZIF framework is completely homegrown, our IP product, and we have patented for that. So it has, it's a unified data store, which has been a big data platform. And then we also have our own ITOps algorithms, which has been built with technology help from Indian Institute of Technology, as well as we also have our own algorithms that include NLPs and machine learning algorithm built into that platform. In addition, we also have this automation platform, which is basically some of our, basically we have built-in bots. We also use Ayehu for some of the complex automation use cases.
All right. Next question, and again, I think it'll go to you, Alwyn, first, and then Dan, it might be good to get your perspective as well. And the question is, how do you see the horizon for automation over the next 5-year period? I guess what they're trying to say is, what are your predictions for automation over the next 5 years? Alwyn?
Okay, so definitely because all these IT process automation, what we see in most of the enterprises, they look at the key or the top trending instance or the request, service request, whichever is coming in to be automated. Much more than that, the prediction based automation is what going to be the next important thing which everybody is going to look at. So that we also talk about trending towards zero incident in an enterprise. So obviously, so unless we have a prediction based automation in place, then it cannot be called towards trending towards zero incident enterprise. So that's where the focus is in the next 2, 3, 4 years is what we are looking at it.
Okay. Dan, what do you envision for automation over the next 5 years?
Well, certainly the AI and ML capabilities coming more into play as we move on. But for us, I think it's taking what we're doing inside of IT and then starting to permeate those benefits into real business opportunities. So learning from what we do, speaking with the business, and taking all this automation, AI and ML capabilities out there.
Okay. Next question, Alwyn, this one's for you. Can you please elaborate a little more on the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning in automation and ZIF?
Okay, so the core of our platform, Zero Incident Framework, is our ITOps, but particularly the event correlation, and then the noise reduction, and the analytics and the prediction. So these are the core components. So whenever the noise gets generated from multiple systems, the noise has to be suppressed, and noise also has to be correlated. Otherwise, every support engineer has to work and then solve all the instance getting generated. So that's where the correlation comes to the picture. So that's where the AIOps plays a bigger role in correlating. Correlation, again, it is not an it's not like an pattern based. We also have AIOps does those correlation on an intelligent basis, and also it self learns using its self learning algorithms. And also we have that helps to optimize that the entire platform. And then the later part is based on whatever it learned, it can also does those predictions. So which device can go on, say example on a Friday sale time, so when all that resources will be utilized higher, so the prediction can come and tell, say that, hey, why don't you increase those resources for those particular business critical application related servers. So that can be done proactively using the prediction algorithm. So that's where the core comes into the picture of the strength, and then the power comes in part of the platform.
Okay, very good. Next question, what are some possible network automations?
Okay, so there are powerful automations in the network area. So we have something called environment change tracker. So particularly in a large enterprise, there'll be tens and thousands of network devices, including switches, routers, and then firewalls and various devices of different manufacturers, and all the network devices comes with key configuration, including routing tables and then certain organization specific policies. So if a routing table gets changed, or if there are some configuration of the devices got been tampered, that will lead to a major financial loss and so on. So that's where the environment change tracker helps to identify whether the change is being done on those devices with an appropriate change request, or is it being done by a mistake or through a vulnerable attack. So all that can be detected by this environment change tracker, which is a very good, very powerful network automation use case. And then whenever there is an equivalent instance or a service required, then it can identify and then lock that particular change and then highlight to those respective network operations team. Other than that, we have also network voice related, data related automations, particularly the CUCM related, and then various other similar things like voice mailboxes creation, when the day one operations of an employee when they joins in, creating their voice mailboxes or assigning an IP phone, all that can be automated through the platform.
Okay. Next question is actually a great one, and I'm going to take a stab at answering it, and then I'm going to pass it on to you, Alwyn. What is the starting point to automate various IT processes? The starting point, the very first thing that you need to do is to document your process, not only the way that it currently is, but the way that you would like it to be. And what I mean by that is you can take advantage of a number of things that aren't currently available. So for example, if you've got a process that is currently handled by the help desk and you want to turn it into a self-service process that can be initiated and completed by a user via a chatbot, in your in your process documentation, you want to add the chatbot aspect to documenting the process. But beyond that, Alwyn, I'll let you go ahead and speak to what else is involved.
Okay, so I think you covered very well in terms of any documented process. That's where we call it the standard operating procedure. So that helps to automate, and any mundane activity needs to be also to be automated. And then we also look at generally the ServiceNow or any other ITSM tool instance over the last 6 months or last 12 months, and look at the trend of the ticket, top trending tickets, top 20 or top 10 trending tickets. That's an immediate thing to go and then automate them. Those are all the low-hanging fruits to really adopt. And then apart from that, we also need to look at how and what all other manual process which is time consuming. So those are all also can be automated. through that.
Okay, and let's do one more question here. Alwyn, this one's for you again. With ZIF, does it potentially mean that theoretically, incident management per se is no longer required?
Yeah, I think that's where our underlying theme again, zero incident framework, and then trending towards zero incident enterprise. So any incident, before even it occurs, we need to automate that. Basically, it is instant creation is very silent. So as soon as there is an incident happens, it's been picked up by the platform, automation platform, and then go and remediate and then close them, so that the instant recording is happening, but not actually there is a need for someone to action on that. That's where the power comes in from an AIOps driven automation.
Excellent. Thank you, Alwyn. Okay, if you think of anything else that you would like to ask, my contact information is on your screen now, as is Alwyn's. Please feel free to shoot either one of us an email, and we'll make sure we get your questions answered promptly. As a next step, for those of you interested in test driving Ayehu NG, please contact your GAVS sales rep for more information, or alternatively, please visit our website and download your very own free 30-day trial version that you can test out in your own environment. And Alvin, Alwyn, I think you've got a similar offer.
Yeah, correct. So we have a wonderful thing. So whatever we talked about, the power of the AIOps platform with the automation component, what we talked about, there's a free trial available on as you see on the screen. So it's a 45 days trial. So anyone can go and download and self-installable, and then you'll be able to experience the power of this platform.
Very good. One last plug. Did you know about Ayehu's podcast? Intelligent Automation Radio is the #1 podcast for IT executives seeking insights on the impact and opportunities for innovation that automation is delivering to organizations around the world. It features thought leaders in AI, machine learning, digital transformation, and the future of work. We publish new episodes twice a month, and it's a great opportunity to hear from some really distinguished subject matter experts helping to shape our industry. Our most recent episode features Peter Voss, founder, CEO, and chief scientist at Ayehu.ai, a company describing itself as being on a mission to provide highly intelligent, hyper-personalized conversational assistance for everyone. Peter is the man who coined the term artificial general intelligence, often abbreviated simply as AGI. He's also one of the foremost thought leaders in AI, and he joins us on this episode to discuss cognitive architecture, a theory of computational structure he advocates for, and which he believes is our best path to an AGI future. It's an interesting discussion, and I highly recommend you check it out. Intelligent Automation Radio is available on any of the platforms you see on your screen. Please visit your favorite one and take a listen. You can also find all episodes of Intelligent Automation Radio on our website, or you can just go straight to them at ayehu.com/podcast. And that concludes our webinar, everyone. Thank you all again for attending. Have a great rest of the day and a great rest of the week.